Believe it or not, I am here. Turn this way down here. Jesus. I'm here. It's 5 a.m. in my parts, but not 5 a.m. yet. 4:56 in the a.m. If you're watching this after the fact, skip ahead a couple minutes, about 3 or 4 minutes. Reveals will start. Yeah, I'm still in my pajamas, for God's sakes, people. I'm in my pajamas. It's pajama party. It's an early morning pajama party. I might even still be under my effects of my of my evening. So hopefully you're excited. Hopefully you are awake. I don't know. If you're in the North American side of things, I doubt there's not many of you alive right now. Because holy shit. This is too early to be up and be hyped about Warhammer, but here we are. Such is the life, I guess. So, yeah. Feel free to join me on Discord. In the channel. You know. The channels. Yeah. I'm just looking at the chat going by. Who's hyped? Fucking not me, man. It's fucking 5 a.m. It's still fucking bloody dark outside, for God's sakes. I didn't even know there was a 5 a.m. They didn't tell me there was a 5 a.m. Nobody said, hey, you know what? 5 a.m. Even my mustache, I think, is still all messed up. Ugh. My hair's sort of a mess. Usually I just do that. It's kind of like Naked Gun. You know, he falls through the window ceiling, crashes into the floor. He gets up, he's all dirty and everything like that, and then he goes, and he's all fine. Yeah, it's like that. I can just fall right out of bed. There we go. We're good. Okay, so what do we suspect here? What do we suspect? Horus Heresy. What do we suspect? Tanks. Another troop. What other troopers are there? There's Mark 6 and there's Terminators. Unless we're getting a different Terminator, maybe? Previous for Terminator? Maybe for characters? Are we going to see Primarchs? Are we going to see other variants of armor? It'd be kind of cool if they gave us like Mark 5 in plastics, right? That would be really cool. And that way we could all mix and match our Horus Heresy armies rather than everybody just Mark 6, right? But, you know, or we could get to see a rework of Mark 4. Mark 4. I mean, Betrayal at Calth was quite a while ago. We starting this shit or what? Sorry, I had the volume up a bit. I know what I didn't do? Shit. I didn't do this. There we go. Alright, so everybody who's looking forward to this, because I don't have any of the other monkeys, because a lot of the monkeys are in North America. Well, some of them are in Europe as well, but there's quite a few of you in Europe. I don't know. Either way, I've got the Discord open. And yeah, my eyes. Sorry, I'm looking at the camera of myself, and my eyes are red and everything. So usually I have a brownie before I go to bed. That was only 6 hours ago. Oh, we're starting here. Yay! Hype.
This is Eddie Eccles, and we are delighted to welcome you today to this final day as we look at the Horus Heresy.
Nice. Yeah, it's very, very exciting. We've known that this day would be all about the Horus Heresy right from the announcement of Warhammer Fest. We've had 3 pretty awesome days. I have loved it. We've seen some very cool stuff for Warhammer 40,000. We've lots and lots of chaosy things. There might be a few.
How come they don't look like they're in their pajamas?
In the mix today. It was an exciting day for them. We also saw a little bit of League of Votan. That was cool. We saw Age of Sigmar.
How come they look so bright-eyed and bushy?
Showing there with lots of new things on the way, but stuff for various different factions as well. And then yesterday we had some pretty left field stuff for some of our smaller skirmishy
Squats
games.
for Necromunda.
Squats. Who knew?
A new box for Kill Team featuring Traitor Guardsman.
It's too early for all this.
Yesterday was a good day.
It was
Actually
fun.
went
Ghibli
home super
good
hyped.
talk.
It was awesome.
Well, I hope you've got some hype left, Adam.
There is plenty of hype left.
Get to
in
the preview.
I keep my hype in because
5 in the morning.
Is, frankly, the big one. We're going to.
I realize it's what 10 for them. I think. 10
Horus
in the UK.
Heresy box game. We're going to show you some things that maybe you've never seen before, and quite frankly, just have a good time. What's amazing, as I pulled into the car park, there was a queue of at least 200 people lined up ready to go into Warhammer World because
a demi-legion of fans.
A demi-legion, I love it. While we're down here in the Rock,
Demi-Legion?
the best named studio in the universe, there is up in the Warhammer World, I'm pointing at it as if that helps, up in the Warhammer World Exhibition Centre, we've got the Horus Heresy Open Day taking place.
Yeah, the doors have
Warhammer
just
World's
opened,
over
I
that
think.
way.
So,
anybody who's wondering,
fans
if you were
are
wondering,
filing into
like,
Warhammer World to
in
have a
that
look at
office,
the Horus Heresy for themselves.
what's
but
going
we
on?
can't all be
Warhammer
in
World's
Warhammer
up that way.
World.
No, literally
just
not
can't,
possible.
It can't contain all the people who want to know about the Horus Heresy. But Warhammer World is more
Boys,
than
let's
just
go.
a mind, and we can bring it to you today and have a look at some of the new stuff that's on its way for the Horus Heresy.
Speaking of you, I am of course referring to the more than 6,000 people who've woken up early or late if you're upside
Or
down.
very early, depending on where you are in the world.
Upside
Quite so,
down.
to join us for this live
Do you
stream.
think Australia's
thank
in
you
the
for,
upside down?
setting your alarm, for tuning in, and for spending some time with us. It is my favourite thing to do, and the answers are slightly different when we do.
Fuck, it's too early to be up.
Where in the world have
I'll
you
go back to
tuned
bed.
in from?
I'm
Let
getting
us
mad
know in the chat. Denmark is the first thing I've seen. 7 p.m. in Australia. Convenient for a change. I'm glad our Australian
Yeah, I'm not
friends
joining in this
were able
fucking
to
chat.
once do right by you. Japan, Ireland, Portsmouth. That was near where I grew up. Finland.
Australia's in the upside
By the
down.
grace of God,
Ask that
Virginia.
question,
That's somebody
people.
who likes where they
Is
live.
Australia
Cape
in the
Town, South
upside
Africa.
down?
Houston, Texas, Las Vegas. Some of you people have woken up very early. It is extremely nice of you to join us. Brazil, Scotland. There's people everywhere. I've said it a
There are
million
people
times. I'll
everywhere.
probably say it a million more. I love
Quite astute.
how global the Warhammer hobby is. This community all around the world of people who are just super mad keen on the same stuff I love.
Yeah, it's nice to see Australians be able
when
to
we
tune in.
discover
Actually,
that
I know
as
that
we
there is a
travel around the
thriving
world,
heresy
that
scene.
more
in
people are
Australia. They
have
do
more
seem
in
to love a
common
bit
than
of,
they do that
Horus
separates them.
Heresy, as do all places of the world, I think.
Quite a
So
reveal.
for me, this is an interesting one. The Horus
Goes to
Heresy has
Starman
been
Deluxe.
part
Wish I
of my
could have
life
made it to Warhammer
since I was
World, but
very
I
little.
wasn't
I
able
read
to
the
get tickets.
story by
Sadly.
Bill
Oh, that's
King
too
and
bad.
White Dwarf ages and ages ago.
I was
With the
like-
cool black
I
and
was
white
gonna
art
send you
as
something.
well.
years or so.
If you did,
That
I knew you wouldn't
number
fail.
two, there was one that sort of
But you
dealt
failed.
with the sort of Battle of Terror, so what we're seeing played out in the Siege of
Just
Terror
decent
novels
dude.
by Black Library, and then there was another which was sort of more based in the sort of the throne room encounter, as it were. And so,
I think I might
it
just sit
wasn't
here and pick my
until
nose while these
yesterday
guys
that
are
I
just
properly, fully
flapping their
committed to build
gums.
My first Horus Heresy model.
Is that right? It's
Yep.
taken you a long time.
So, I mean, I suppose
Killing
we
me,
did
boys,
the
you're
box
killing
games.
me.
There was one from McCrag. What was it called? Betrayal at Cal's.
See, here's the hard part I
member
have
of our
right now.
broadcast team. Big shout out to the
Because
Priest Superior, who is pressing all the
I'm
buttons
already
to
up
make
at
sure his
4.
work.
Well, I got up
Betrayal
at
Cal, I
4:30
painted
this
models for
morning.
That was
Come
kind of
down
discreet,
here
and I
in
never
my
intended those to
studio
become
and
armies.
turn my
I think a lot of people
camera on,
probably started
blah, blah,
their
blah.
Horus Heresy collection and journey
And,
with those box sets. You also had the one based
question
on the
is, do I
Burning
go back to
Prospero,
bed?
which was
Or
the
by
first
the
time we
end of
saw
this,
Custodians.
am I
That
gonna
was pretty
be wide
exciting.
awake?
And Sisters of
That's the
Silence,
question.
and we saw Mark 3 Iron Armor for the first time.
I
And
had Geigel Fellhand.
Sean
which
yeah,
frankly
OCD?
is one of the coolest ones going.
Nah. Yeah, no.
Which
We
leads
are
me, a
right
wonderful
way up.
segue. Chat,
Everyone
brace
else is upside
yourselves.
down. Yeah, okay, that's
I
true.
would like to
That's,
know which
know.
the dominant legion is in the chat.
So
If
in
you are
Australia,
a loyalist,
when you look at
or
a globe,
traitor,
is Australia
if
at
you
the
have
top
a
of the
particular
globe?
predilection to
And,
one
like,
particular
everything
legion,
else?
just bellow it
Like,
into the
you look
chat.
at North
Block
America,
Captain
or better
Committee.
yet,
upside
your
down.
Legion's battle cry would
There
be
you
excellent.
go. There is
curious.
just exploded. There is
talking
Salamander's Death Guard, Raven
Somebody
Wing,
exploded.
Alpha Legion have got a huge presence.
I don't
There's
know what he
quite a
means
few
by that.
Carbonites. Well done.
Goes to
Well,
start
all
I
right,
think
though,
it
aren't
is
they?
the
Probably
initial
all
open
tuned
day
in at the same
announcement
time. All their
didn't
alarms go off
mention the event was
simultaneously.
ticketed,
Gotta
and
love
since
it.
it's an
Wow, it's
open day,
quite
I
cool to
assumed
just
it
see
would
the
just
chat go
rock
just
up.
bananas
Oh,
for a
right,
minute. A few people are blasting Eldari symbols
Sean,
into the
in
chat
our hearts,
because,
yes.
why not?
Thing.
iron within, iron without.
Yeah. I don't know. He made the
Horus
comment.
Heresy, isn't there? And like the
Australia upside down. If you're in the upside down, it's like
breeds into people.
Does he
There's something quite compelling about picking a legion, isn't there, and kind of like going all in, because like everybody fundamentally has the same toolbox of stuff to work with. You've got it's about Space Marines and legions and Primarchs and things, but they've all got that subtle difference, and all of the legions are like cool in their own way. So whatever thing is about Space Marines, we talked about this a little before. Like,
boys, let's go.
You can take Space Marines, you can have like Crusaders, you can have Warriors, you can have Siege Specialists, you can have Psychers. Whichever aspect of Space Marines you like, one of the legions can scratch that itch for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm judging by the badge on your shirt that
I've gone Traitor today. I've gone, post Prospero Thousand Suns. That's what I'm.
Is the Thousand Suns where you think you would collect?
So I've got a Horus Heresy, the Thousand Sun army. Yeah. So I've mixed in some of the plastics as well from the Warhammer 40,000. The Scarab Occult Terminators mash up pretty well with your Tartarus Terminators. You can kind of mush them together.
That's red and gold, isn't it?
Yeah. So my ones have got like a little flecks of blue and little flecks of red and gold. So I mixed them all together. But I haven't painted Magnus for the Horus Heresy yet. So I'm still. He's still kind of my to-do list, and I've got a half-painted Land Raider in Heresy pattern sitting at home, judging me on a shelf every day for finishing.
Fucking get the show on the road.
I need to spur me into action.
Awesome. The chat is still going.
Yeah, they're still going. Everybody's trying to stay awake.
Their loyalty, and some of the war cries going out that I don't recognize.
Jez Hunt.
So
what?
Which legion?
Why so much earlier? What's going on?
Is
it Horus Heresy Day today? Yeah, it's Horus Heresy Day. It's Horsey Day.
I feel like that is a war cry that rings true. Oh, Raph, he is like a font of wisdom, just sat there in, frankly, the best Hawaiian shirt you've ever seen in your life today.
Fucking
that
40K
is the,
doing Hawaiian shirts now?
Imperial Fists Legion. I'm listening to...
I never heard it because they're always hiding behind a big wall, so they could be saying anything.
Or is it because they're where they should be and you're hiding from them?
Yeah,
maybe.
If
camouflage is the colour of cowardice after all, and in that case, Raph is the bravest man
Warhammer
in today.
Hawaiian shirts.
I'm listening to Sigismund at the moment and absolutely loving it.
Jez Hunt, what time is it for you, Kris? It's fucking 5:08 in the AM.
We have
I didn't even know this hour existed.
Introduced.
Oh, there's Barford Sheep. What's happening, buddy?
I'll just summarise. If you've just joined us, welcome to day 4 of Warhammer Fest Online 2022. Today,
yeah, but it's probably not as fucking early as
for I am Adam Troke. This is the Eddie Eccles. Raph is the man with the buttons, and Notley and the Moderati doing their best in the chat to help things flow smoothly. Thank you all for being with us. Let's watch a video.
You guys are pissing me off. Oh, here we go. Pew pew. I want to hear this. Oh, been shooting. Oh, ever cute. These are just the models. Excuse me. Hey, we're gonna see Return of Dead Space Marines for tabletops. Age of Darkness.
Boom. Warhammer, the Horus Heresy, Age of Darkness.
No, like
in
Rogue
Quite
Trader.
Literally.
We have one. It's huge. So we have the box today. We've known it's bigger than it's always bigger than me. So we've known this box was on its way, but we're going to take a little bit of time. First thing in this preview to talk about this box in detail. We've kind of seen a bit of it, but we can talk about exactly what you get in the box and some of the details around it. So the first thing to say is that it is just absolutely enormous. This is one of the biggest box sets I think we've released in a long time.
Right up there with the mightiest of the mighty.
Yeah, so it doesn't even fit on the table.
And if you want to feel the true joy that Warhammer Fest could bring, just imagine that there'd be no stinky leaks and you're seeing it for the first time. The box also guaranteed makes a weird farty noise as it opens.
It's actually so big, there's so much stuff packed into it as well. We opened it slightly ahead of time just to make sure that all the stuff was in there.
Because I took the book out because I wanted to have a look.
We couldn't even fit it all back in the box. There is just like mounds and mounds and mounds of plastic that just go all the way down. There is a huge amount of plastic in there. So in terms of content, we sort of know what's in it already, but just a recap, you can see it on the screen behind us. You get 40 tactical Marines. I'm just going to shimmy this across slightly so we can have a look at the the sprues in
40
detail, maybe.
Space Marines in the box?
Somebody said red licorice. Is that in the box?
We've seen this picture.
Red licorice is in the box, yes. So for those of you of a certain vintage, you will remember that in all good Warhammer box games, you used to get your red measuring sticks, and they do indeed come in the box. You've got a selection of dice, including the classic return of the scatter
you know what? That's
dice.
the reveal of the day. That's the reveal.
Yeah, you've got loads and loads and loads of plastics. Obviously, there's
fantastic.
I think you're getting about 5 Space Marines on a sprue, so there's probably about 8 sprues of tactical Marines, which you can build up in all sorts of different ways, and you've got options in there to give them. Every single one of them can have a chainsaw bayonet if you want, or a regular bayonet. You've got loads of different head options and different pose options. They're really, really super multi-part. You've got sergeant options in there as well. Loads and loads of different ways you can build these guys.
Raph coming up with goods. So here's an example of a tactical squad you can build out of the kit. So it has all the things you would expect to see.
I wonder if the knives are already pre-attached or
sergeant options, and frankly enough
you attach them.
Give the other people a good stabbing.
Yeah, so you can give them all bayonets, you can give them all chainsaw bayonets, and they have rules in game as well, so it's not just an aesthetic choice in terms of if you want to give them
I like them.
combat weapons on your legionaries. They will change the way that they fight as well, so if you give them the chainsaw bayonet, they get better in combat. So if you've got
same here.
like
Beakies is the beginning for me as well.
You want your tactical,
Hate
even
these
your
damn
tactical
things.
Marines to be getting up close and personal and chopping stuff
Mind
up.
you, though,
you can do it, and
the ones I grew up on.
Not just tactical Marines though. There's loads more stuff in there as well. You get Cataphractii Terminators. These are the ones that we've seen previously in the Calf box, and have been available separately.
They look like
a
good
big squad of 10 of these
translations
guys.
of
So you
like
can
the
either
Forge World ones,
break the
right?
squad in half and have 2 squads of 5. You can build them as one big squad of 10. You can give them all the various weapons you'd want. So you've got lightning claws and power fists and combi bolters and heavy flamers and chain fists and all the different things you could possibly want to give them. There's loads and loads of choice and options in there, and they're Legion neutral as well, just like everything else in the box. So you can hit whatever.
It's just basically 2 bolters strapped together.
Templar brothers of the Imperial Fists, but you can choose whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think because it's also rendered in plastic, right?
A really nice little transfer sheet.
It does.
But of course, if you want to do other legions,
WTF?
the website has transfers
Oh, okay.
for all of them.
It does.
I certainly bought the Dark Angels one on Friday.
Yeah, so you get loads and you get everything you need to do like, as they look on the box, basically, in here, plus a little bit extra to do them as fists or Sons of Horus. But obviously, lots of people are going to choose one of the 16 other legions.
You know the nice thing about Beacon Marines as well?
You've got a couple of Kratos in there. Again, we've seen these guys before, but worth kind of coming back to them. They are Legion neutral, but one of them looks a little bit like a baddie, and one looks a little bit more like a goodie, perhaps. Arguably, that axe is quite.
They only have one shoulder pad
The
that's
sword is maybe more imperial, but nothing stopping you painting both of these in the same Legion color scheme if you wanted to.
So you have
a favourite of these two, Adam?
So I am a shameless big axe guy myself when it comes to these two. They're both excellent models.
They're pretty cool. I like the buddy on the left, though.
The sort
buddy
of
on the left's really cool.
image of the Praetor carrying the 2-handed power axe is where I'm at. I think you're in the same camp.
I think the other one's good though. Like he's got a Volkite pistol, which I'm always partial to a Volkite. And actually, for my Legion, which is probably going to be the Thousand Suns,
my knowledge of
the sword
game
one maybe is a little
and the
bit
structures
more,
and shit is very limited.
Yeah.
Well,
I've only read I think the first 6 books.
You can paint them
7
exactly
books.
how you like.
Yeah, I'm way behind on Horus Heresy reading.
Will not consider this a 2-player starter box, but rather the start of one pretty large legionary army.
Yeah, I think
I'm going to do both.
I wonder, can you put that other head
there's plenty
on
of discussion.
Marine?
I think if you're in the chat and you're looking at this box and you're going, am I going to buy this for myself or am I going to find a friend to split this with? I think a lot of people have been going, you know what, maybe I don't want to share this one. Maybe this is just
like
are
these more push to fit or are these like full on proper assembled?
I actually prefer.
That's another good question. Well, he had a big thing of sprue in his hand, and it looked like a regular sprue, like all tiny little parts. So maybe they are multi-assembled.
So sign me right up. Of course, there is more in this set
than
even the 40 Mark 6 Tactical Space Marines.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Terminators and
like if they are press fit, then that's going to be kind of pain.
This is the worst ASMR ever as any plunged through the box. There is, of course, a new plastic Contemptor Dreadnought.
Yeah, he's cool.
Find that if you can. I stole it from behind Kris.
Well, it's a good interpretation from the Forge World one. Which kind of felt,
and the
even in its default
with a whole suite of options
kind
as
of
well,
static.
Right?
So it's got loads of stuff that you can build as a default.
Like,
so you've got autocannons, you've got some las cannons in there, you've got a variety of different power fists, the different weapons you can put inside the power fist. there's more options and things you can do with the Contemptor, but even out of this box, you've got lots of things that you can do with it straight away. One of the nice things about this Contemptor versus the current plastic one is that this is very posable. So if you've had a go with any of the resin Contemptors that Forge World have made previously, you get a sense of how
and it also has a bunch
how
of
many ways you can
gun
pose this.
well.
It's almost infinitely posable in terms of like there's ball and socket joints where you can change the position of the leg. You can have it running, you can have it standing, you can have it kind of swiping with its power fist or firing with its gun,
Could you
or
do him having
striding forward with the rest of your army. And if you're a painter, there's loads of nice big panels on this to paint kind of however you want. So I think we'll probably see this showing up in lots of things like Golden Demon. The Contemptor Dreadnought has been a staple of high-end painters almost since its launch, just because it's just a really nice canvas basically to show off your skills.
Out kind of thing.
It's a really interesting thing. I remember seeing my first ever Contemptor Dreadnought, and I was like, ooh, the game.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
Such
Like
a departure from the...
He's like in a full run.
Boxier dreadnoughts that we're...
And then the arms like in that kind of pose.
First millennium, particularly back then.
I think the first time I saw something similar was there was an art book for
Fuck, what is your Dreadnought doing?
And there were some pictures of Dreadnoughts in there that looked... Because they look more like the very original Dreadnoughts that you saw with things like Rogue Trader. And there's some pictures of them like smashing down walls and stuff, and I was like, oh man, that looks awesome. Wouldn't it be great if we saw a miniature of one of those one day? And then I think Contemptor Dreadnoughts podded in from the Forge World studio straight into our hearts. And then I think Heresy fans have fallen in love with them since, as have many 40k fans.
Oh shit.
Then there's the Spartan. He looks awesome. So you're thinking, how am I going to get those 10 Terminators?
Yeah,
it's
like, I can't believe that this is in the box.
Into the heart of the enemy lines.
Like, when has ever been a box set
again, we've seen this before, but worth reminding you for anyone who's maybe not been following all of the news. This is a plastic multi-part Spartan with a whole bunch of options. So it's great. I mean, the Spartan kit has always been lovely, but it is like... Has there been planes in default box? Love to it. The current resin one is a bit of a faff to put together. If you've ever had to create one, I have.
So I'm an enthusiastic but not especially skilled model.
I think that covers
an answer to prayers for people like me.
This is a joy to put together. There's loads of options. You've got straight away more las cannons than is frankly reasonable. You've got 8 kicking out huge amounts of anti-tank firepower.
Sorry, folks.
You've also got
I had the chat
twin
minimized.
Heavy bolters at the top there.
Jez Hunt, I remember those
more las cannons
original plastics,
or
Beakies
some other
when
options.
released.
You've also got a guy in the back who you can have with pintle-mounted weaponry as well, so you can put bolters and melter guns, all sorts of stuff in there. So you can give it even more guns.
One looks a bit more,
but its kind of main role really is to roll forward and deliver the best thing, the best combat unit in your army.
Jimmy White said, I still have a bunch of OG Beakies kicking around. Oh, do you really? Hang on to them. Hang on to them. You never know somebody out there is going to want
the most Terminators they can find, or a squad of 5 Terminators and a Primarch in there, and just roll that into the middle of the enemy army.
I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a question.
Not when brand new Beakies kick
to my understanding, the gun armies and autocannon.
It's only appealing to cats our age and older.
Cannon and the non-gun
gun arm. Beakies are cool because they look like pig snout
sort of
base
gun, which would be combi bolter, heavy flamer, plasma blaster, graviton gun, or multi-gun, and then you've got the top-mounted Havoc launcher.
James, the tank bumped that box price up by 100, I'm sure.
You can have either like stubby squared off.
Okay, yeah. So, what does everybody think of the cost of the box?
Pointy handwork. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
be sure to list your local
kind of whichever
currency
legion you prefer, really. So
if you say like 500, I'm gonna be like,
you want them to have, claws, you can lean into that.
I'm speculating this is 400.
Whereas if you want to go classic box dready looking,
I'm going to say it's just over 400 bucks. Because there is a lot here.
You can do that. So it's not all about the miniatures.
There's
plenty of other stuff in there as well that lets you actually play the game, which is cool.
200
so this is a proper box game. It's not just toy soldiers. There is a big rule book. It's a hefty beast. I don't know if Raph, maybe you can cut back to us just so people get a sense of how big this book is. It is a chunky beast. How many the page
James says 420 US, yeah.
It's about 336
Ghost
pages, so it's a big old
UK,
book.
And it's really nice. The Forge World
UK British
team who sort of started this Horus Heresy ball rolling.
Yeah, it's a full box with the rulebook though. That's the thing. We're all thinking about the freaking models. We're all focused on the models. We forget about the goddamn book.
Yeah, so if you're a fan of the black books
that
they're referred to often, that the Forge World have done before,
thick.
It's that same sort of style. So you've got that kind of thematic black and white photography stuff kind of mixed in to make it feel like a
how much does it cost?
kind of
Just on
artifact book almost.
one arm,
also loads
leg,
of really
kidney,
nice things like
firstborn
heraldry
child,
of
and £1 million.
titans and things. Worth saying as well that the Horus Heresy isn't necessarily just about Space Marines. There are some other things that show up in there as well. The legions are taking the brunt of the fighting, but there's also titans and knights and custodies, and then you go to the forces of the Mechanicum as well.
It looks
it's not just Space Marines necessarily.
I suspect it's going to be full
of
of
show,
like
as it were.
all the Forge
that's very
World
cool.
Horus Heresy articles.
Sort of a limited
Not
release.
articles, not like a collection of White
it's a
Dwarf,
new
but
box
like
game for Warhammer.
more like like the general stories and just the way he
so
was flipping through
some
the
points
pages.
about
Some of it looked like that
about the
Forge
box that are
World.
worth talking about. So
Horus
first off,
Heresy
it's not a
books.
limited release. We're expecting to have lots and lots of copies, and there'll be enough for everybody, and it'll be on shelves for the foreseeable future.
Of course, if things go mad and everybody buys it, we'll have to make more, but that's the plan.
This isn't a flash in the pan box. This is something that Games Workshop are committed to for a long time. There's going to be a lot of support for the Horus Heresy. This is a game that you can dive into knowing confidently that you will be supported
Ghost Starman,
for
not
months
limited
and years
release,
to
very
come.
good. Yeah.
The rulebook that comes in this box set will
I
be
guess
available in
I guess they're
future
banking
separately.
on
So
this.
if you like, for some reason you don't want
Because
a
Horus
Space
Heresy,
Marines,
like for
you're
you already
mad.
have
many
20,
years,
well, 18. Let's not get carried away.
right?
18 legions
It's
of Space
largely kind of like
maybe
ignored the Horus Heresy
Can't
stuff.
possibly cope with
So
any
I
more
don't.
than
I'm not
like-
sure why they're.
Yeah, so you can pick up the book.
They're making this
separately,
move to
slightly after the
get
the main
into,
box has come out. So you can
making
wait
these
for
things
that if you want to.
plastic, right?
The,
Unless, of course, maybe sales numbers. I
the
figure
other
they
thing
can
to worth saying about this
squeeze a
is
few
that
more bucks
the
out of
release
it. I
date
don't
will
know.
be in June. So it's not
that's
too
not
far
far
away. That's
away.
next month, right? So that's pretty soon.
James,
So
with modern
you don't have
GW
too long to
pricing,
wait.
400
So if
easy,
you're looking
and
forward
I'm
to picking
crying,
this up,
yeah.
you won't have to wait.
I mean,
too
it's a
long.
lot
It's
of
on the
shit.
horizon.
Like that's 400 bucks.
And then the last
though.
thing to say about this box is that
That-
there's been a few kind of rumors and
you're
conversations.
you're buying
on the
an
internet
army
about
in a
the
box.
price points
This is
for
an army in a box.
I've seen a few prices kind of
If you
flying around.
really
Well,
wanted to,
maybe
part it
well,
out with your friends
we
and
can't
go
give you the exact
halvesies or
price
whatever.
today, but we can
But
say
I think
that the
really
box
this
will
is
be
more
less
for an
than
individual who
£200,
just basically
which
wants
is an absolute
a Horus
steal
Heresy
for the amount of
army.
stuff you get in there.
Yep.
And if you live in the
And
US,
paying the Forge
it's
World
under
prices so many years
$300
ago
as well.
was
So
just
that gives
a
you a
huge
sense of kind of
turnoff.
how
And
you've got the
now
when it's
you
out,
have it all in
about how
one
much
shot.
it's going to be.
can
You know what's in
you
it.
know,
You can kind of plan.
because even putting together
how,
them
how
Land
deep you
Raiders
want
from
to dive
Forge
into
World,
the Horus Heresy. So I think there will be
a lot of
probably
times
people
those
out there who
walls were
pick up multiples of the box
warped a
and get
bit. You had to
themselves
like
a
with
3,000
resin, you're always
legion
constantly messing with
immediately.
stuff. Whereas
So,
in styrene
talked
plastic,
a little bit about the box
there's
game.
less
there
instances
there
of
is
it,
other
so-
news to talk
Loads
about. I
of other
guess
news.
with regards to the launch offer, there are more books, right?
There are more books, so let's talk
more
about
books?
what happens as well as the box. So, the Horus Heresy is a complete game. It's not just a game in a box. And at
Those
launch of the
do
Horus
look
Heresy,
thick.
if
Yeah,
you're
again,
picking your
like I
Space
said,
Marine
like,
Legion,
I think
you
maybe
need to
they,
pick kind of which
they're-
direction you
they're
want to go. Are
jamming
you going to
the,
go
Forge
loyalist or are
World
you going to go
books
traitor?
into these.
And then within that, you need to choose which of the 18 legions you go with. So there are 2 books coming, which are
I'm
the
getting hungry.
Liber Astartes loyalists. And
That's for me.
right, and the Liber
Rumble.
Astartes Hereticus, which is for me.
And people will joke
Yeah, those
if
books do look
everyone's
thick.
goofy.
So in each of these books are big. These are big books, 300 plus pages, and in each
And
one you
they're
basically
even
think of these as
reminiscent
like your
of
codex
the
for,
Forge
for the
World
Horus
books.
Heresy. In each
'Cause the
one,
Forge World books
you
are like
have
this with the
full
black
listing for all
and
of the
silver.
rules for everything that is a generic.
But they had actual, like,
legionary
you know, the
thing,
silver
and there are
gilding
lots
on
of
them or
things in
whatever.
the Horus Heresy. You've got all the various different tanks and units and characters and artillery pieces and dreadnoughts and all that sort of stuff. There's loads and loads and loads. of
Favner
things.
Bane,
And then the second half of the book
less than
is all
300
the
US
things
according to the
specific
host. Oh, did they
to,
say what the price was?
your,
I didn't hear that. I was
individual
probably too
legions.
busy
So
flapping
if
my
you
gums.
look inside the Loyalist book, you've got a section on the Blood Angels, which will cover specialist Blood Angel units. So if they have particular
These
dreadnoughts
books
that
are
only that
pretty
legion have access
goddamn
to,
thick.
or particular units or particular tanks.
But even
or
that's at that
variations or
thickness, that's
special
about an
rules
inch.
that
That's
the
about
legion gets
that
access
looks
to,
about as thick
or
as the
special
rulebooks.
abilities or things that only
And
your
even
legion
then,
can do that add
would
flavor
that be
to
all
your
the Space Marines in
particular
one
force.
book? I don't
Those
think
are
so.
covered in this book as well. It also covers things like,
like,
your Primarch.
The books
and
from
any
Forge
named
World, like each of
characters
them was about that
that,
thick.
Your faction might have as well. So
Yep, that was
pick
like
up this
one or
book,
two chapters
and you can
per
turn
book.
your generic legion into a legion that is designed around
And I think there's, what,
one of
6, 7
the
books?
famed 18 legions of the Horus Heresy.
And Raph was telling me this morning when we were getting excited before we started that Marduk Cedrus, who was revealed on Thursday, I want to say, his rules are in the Loyalist book.
Yeah.
Which should set
You
to
need
rest
fucking
somebody
microfiche?
heckling in the chat. Take that.
Each codex
It
is
gives you an idea as well
microfiche.
about the
Holy
shape of future
shit.
Horus Heresy releases as well. So we know that Space Marines are the kind of stars of the Horus Heresy. The legions are kind of what the series is named after, and are the kind of primary protagonists in many of the battles, but they aren't the only factions fighting. There will be similar things on the way for the other factions of the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say if you are a collector and fan of the Adeptus Custodes or the Sisters of Silence or the Solar Auxilia and so on,
mini
you will
codex
have
per
your time in the sun. But the opening gambit of the Horus Heresy release is
only 18
unsurprisingly the Space Marines
because
that made up
all
the
18 chapters are
majority
covered in
of
those
the
2 books.
truly
So it's
devastating
9
forces
chapters per
unleashed
book, right?
on the galaxy. Oh, you've got to love it. Right. Well, we are wildly behind time, and I love it.
behind.
Play us a video.
Video.
Oh, it's not a video.
Oh, it's not a video. I got overexcited.
It's all right, Adam, don't worry about it.
Adam, you fucked it up.
So there's other ways to expand your legion as well. There won't just be this.
Oh, look at
box set.
that!
It's not the only
Are they
access
doing it?
thing.
Are they giving
There
us a
some new
throwback?
sets coming, which
Look at
allow
it's 20
you to,
Citadel miniatures.
Add even more Space Marines into your force. So if you're familiar with
Are they giving us a throwback?
incarnation, you'll know that generally speaking, you need a lot of bodies on the battlefield. Space Marines die quite quickly in the time of the Horus Heresy.
Apparently, it's just like Space Marine on Space Marine action means a lot of dead bodies.
There's a lot of death. So you need a lot of troops on the battlefield. So there's
cool.
more. There's boxes coming, allow you to expand your Space Marine collections, which I think isn't going to be a surprise to anyone. But there's also some repackaged packages of some of the existing marks of armor that we've seen. So the Iron Armor Mark III that we saw.
Iron Armor.
I was kind of.
It does look super cool. It does look super cool. So you'll see those reboxed. And what's quite nice about these boxes is that you get 20 models in a box, which is a Legion strength force. So in Warhammer 40,000. You tend to get Space Marines in 5s and 10s, and 10 Space Marines is like quite an investment of points and models on the battlefield that can do a lot of work. In the time of the Horus Heresy, 5 Space Marines will just get lost in the maelstrom, right? So you need to have 20 models. You can see that you've got your
Mark IV,
Mark
20
IVs there as well.
20 Marines.
Re-released too. So there's loads of different. If for some reason you don't want to have the beaky look, if you want to lean into a different one, some legions have affinities with particular patterns. So if you've got
the Iron Fourth will probably be looking quite hard.
James, 20 Marines like in the 90s.
Absolutely. So
I
if
hope it
you've
sells
got,
like $30 like that back then too. Yeah, can we have like the 90s pricing? Because it was like $20 for 20.
Would be more inclined
Basically, it was like
the Corvus pattern.
I remember being at less than $1
which
per
I will
Marine
echo, which is really nice work on the design of these boxes.
That's cool.
They look cool, don't they?
Whoever
That's
in
cool.
the studio
I like
has
that.
done
I like
an
the
absolutely
boxes at 20.
stunning
That's
job on
funny.
the look and feel of all
Mind you,
the
though, those boxes at
presentation
20 are
packaging,
probably going to be like
covers.
$100 each. But
It's enough to make a person like me excited.
Now we can.
Is it a video now? Right.
I think it is a video.
We'll see you after this.
oh, now a video. Fuck, now I gotta switch back. All right. View. Oh, the specialist. Noise. Volkite blasters. Noise. Oh, missile launchers. Yeah. Missile launchers. Heavy bolters. Yep, nice. Missile launchers. Love it. Classic missile launchers. I'm in. God damn it. I'm in. Now, hold on.
We mentioned before how very dangerous it is to be a Space Marine in the Horus Heresy.
Are these weapons in the box, or are these
destroyed?
all...
There are
Is it a box of
boxes
weapons?
of special and heavy weapons on their way, so that you can equip your Space Marines with them. Heavy weapons and special weapon squads. If you're not familiar with the Horus Heresy, works slightly differently.
60 weapons. Jesus.
Traditionally, they're just in massive
Special
squads
weapons
of
upgrade set.
10 guys, all carrying flamers or plasma guns or
Like the chain gun.
culverins or whatever the weapon.
No, wait a second. They showed us
is.
missile launcher. Where the fuck are
So,
missile launchers?
as you can see
special
here,
weapons. Right.
an enormous box of 60
Everybody's like, calm down,
weapons,
Kris, calm down.
10 of each, 2 slightly different variants of
Fucking
each
calm
one that
your
you can
tits,
see
buddy.
on here. And you can just put them onto the correct sort of fittings on the models to make
Jez,
special weapons.
proper missile launchers.
So
like
it is a
grandma
different
used.
way of approaching
just like
specialist
gra-
squads
just like
than
grandma
something like
used to
Warhammer
use.
40,000. So what
James,
you do
no,
if
those
you
are
want to
all
have a special
plastic
or heavy
Horus
weapon
Heresy
squad
Mark
is
4
you
and
go,
3. Yeah.
which pattern of armor do you want to
that's
have?
cool.
So let's say
well,
want
that
to
was
have
the
a
thing I was
Corvus
worried
pattern
about,
Mark
James,
6.
was are they
You
looking
take
to like
your
replace
tactical
the older
Marine models,
plastic
which
Horus
could be the
Heresy
ones that you
stuff
get in your big box
with
set.
this
If you're
newer
like, okay,
plastic Heresy
I don't
stuff,
want
but no,
40
it's
tactical
being
Marines, I want
incorporated.
20
so
tactical Marines
I think
and then
that's
some
really
specialists.
interesting and very cool.
And then you can take one of these upgrade sets and basically like have your pick
I thought the
of
one,
special weapons.
the upper right one, just
you do
to the
find
right
a
of
few
the
other
plasma
special
gun. I
weapons
thought
mixed
that was
in
the
amongst
Volkite
heresy squads
gun,
as well. So veteran
but
units
the
for
other
certain
gun
armies
looks shorter.
can
What is that
mix
one?
in different special weapons too.
Carbine?
But generally speaking,
Is it carbine
as
and
you said,
rifle?
I
Is
mean,
that-
you
is
do tend
that
to
the
have
difference?
whole squads of 5, 10, or
Sir
even more
Pork.
of just a single
Emoji. I don't know what that emoji is.
specialist
Some
weapon.
sort
So
of
it's
face.
it's a really
don't
interesting
know.
way of like
Anyway,
upping
yeah, I'm up
your squad.
at
So
this ungodly
for
fucking
example,
hour.
if you picked up 2 boxes
Still
of
in
the
my
Age of
fucking
Box set,
pajamas.
you could go, I'll make 40 of them into Tactical Marines. Pick up this box and every other Tactical Marine.
That's why the camera's not on too much.
You got to love it. For those who are maybe not familiar and
What'd
just
you say,
want to know, sort of top and going down, you've got the top is a plasma gun, then sort of below that to the left is a flamer. Then you have, and I always risk getting these wrong because frankly the different types
So
of
wait, a
Volkites
minigun is a
are
special
all
weapon?
a bit
It's
like
not a
each
heavy
other.
weapon?
But I'm going in on saying that the
Only
one
in 40K
on the
universe is
right
that
is
possible.
the chat are going to point me out when I'm wrong. You watch this. That is a Volkite caliber, and the one below is a Volkite charger.
I think you're right,
Could
Adam.
have
I
that
think
the
you
wrong way
got it.
around.
I think you
Then
got it.
Meltagun,
There we go.
and my
Answer my
favourite in
question.
terms of just
Are they
how
watching?
good it looks.
They
The
better not be
rotator
watching.
cannon. Now, the rotator
Talking
cannon is a
shit
weird
this
thing in
whole
Horus
show.
Heresy because frankly, Space Marine armor is quite resilient against that sort of thing. But you
Oh,
can
no,
imagine
no,
they were
I don't- I'm
everywhere
pretty sure
during the
nobody
Great Crusade,
watches
just
me,
hosing down
which is
Xenos.
fine.
Yeah, so the rotator cannon is low strength,
James
low
looking
AP,
squat as hell. I'm trying to
huge
resize
amount
a
of
bunch of
firepower,
Mark
so it
III
just
now.
chucks out
Yeah.
loads and loads of bullets. Very
I
good
hope those
against non-Space
weapons are
Marines.
plastic. Resin
It's
were
still quite-
annoying.
Still quite useful in
Well,
the Space
the
Marine army
logo.
'cause
I just need like big
Actually, no, the
squads
logo
carrying
does
those,
not
you know,
say-
you can just
devastating foes.
if you like rolling loads of
Because
dice
the other
across
boxes say
battlefield, the
20
rotator cannon's,
Citadel
fun,
miniatures.
but I mean,
This just
any
says
squad of
60
10 of
weapons.
those weapons is going to be devastating, right? So like 10
I wonder-
melter guns is going to pop almost any tank.
I wonder
10
if they're just
plasma
doing
guns
like
is gonna
proper
take out
boxes
any
for
Terminator
like
unit.
are the
10 Volkites is going to make
are
a mess of
these
anything that's infantry.
options
10 flamers is just loads of fun,
available
right? You
on
can lay
Forge
down
World
loads
right
of,
now?
flame templates.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's not just special weapons.
Wait, there's more.
There's more.
The best looking gun in the history
Yeah, 'cause
of
see, it doesn't say
Warhammer,
Citadel on
the
the front.
missile
Big claim.
launcher. It's so good.
the
It
box.
just, I love it.
Love
that
the
has
missile
been
launcher.
a part of my life for 32 years, that shape of missile launcher, and I can't get over it. And a heavy bolter, underslung heavy bolter.
That's a
win.
proper missile
Now this is a
launcher, by the way,
20
people.
gun set because they're much bigger, and you need like
Everybody's out there,
extra
that's
bits and
not a
pieces
fucking
to make
missile
sure
launcher,
they,
that looks like some
they
sort of
go on your
torpedo
models.
launcher thing.
But yes,
Isn't
so
that going to
what
water?
say you want to do an entire squad of missile launcher
You could.
armed Space Marines? Well, you can.
It's probably the most flexible of the heavy weapons
Yeah,
because
that
you can
Space Marine's
choose
pretty
between
happy.
your anti-tank,
He loves
popping,
his
crack,
job.
and the frag as well. And then several legions as well have got specialist missiles.
Do you
as
ever
well,
watch
which are really wonderful things.
Hot Shots?
Yes.
The movie with Charlie Sheen?
We could talk more about this.
Where
or
he's
we
like
could,
Rambo?
I think there's another.
There's the one scene right
another
near
one.
the end
There's
of the
actually
final
two.
battle.
Raph
Buddy comes
to
out of the
rescue.
bushes.
So
War.
here we are.
It's
We have
fantastic.
heavy flamer, multi melter, and plasma cannon.
That's what that face reminds
again,
me of with that Marine.
In a big box, there's
Heavy
30 of
flamer,
these,
multi-melter, and,
between them, so
heavy
10 of each.
plasma.
If you want to do the obvious
Very
maths.
cool.
And heavy flamers are
30 weapons.
amazing because they're strong and they hit lots of things. Why
This
doesn't
feels like the
everybody carry a heavy
Salamanders
flamer?
box to me. This
Yeah,
is the one. If you want to go, I want to melt stuff
Um,
and I want to flame stuff. This is probably
try.
if you're leaning into that Salamander thing, that's the one to go with. But
know,
also,
it sounds like
Dark
these,
Angels
like,
obviously big fans of the
They're
plasma
big
cannon.
boxes.
It has
They gotta
been
be
rumored.
Citadel
Yeah,
miniatures.
I mean,
they gotta be like
multi-melters
plastic. These have to
are
be
pretty
plastic.
useful for almost any legion to pick up as well. Like none of these weapons are bad, but certainly some
I'm
of them
probably
have
sure they
particular
probably
affinity
said
with,
in the
certain of
presentation.
legions.
We just been
There's a
talking too
question:
much.
is that plasma cannon shoulder mounted? The answer is you're darn tootin' it is.
It is darn.
Shoulder mount plasma? Yeah. It's all shoulder mount.
And boom.
This one might be my favourite. So this is the huge version of the
cannons?
Volkite.
I like the old school
So
last
this is the
cannon.
culverin.
This is the Culverin, yeah.
Which basically is like a fancy word for an old-fashioned cannon, and
The
it
last
look at the
cannon's
size
shoulder
of that
mount
thing.
too,
You were saying before, it gives you echoes of the almost the sound blaster sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it's just super
Volkite
cool, right?
thing,
So like Volkites, we'd never
Whatever
seen
the hell that
Volkites
is.
before
What
the
is
Horus
that,
Heresy.
Volkite?
They're very much a piece of technology
Culverin?
that is incredibly
What kind of
rare
word is
in
that?
the far future in Warhammer 40,000. But at the
Anyway.
time of the Horus Heresy, it was like your go-to anti-infantry thing. Which
I don't even know
basically
what
was
Volkite is supposed to be. Like,
vast
is it like
swathes of enemy light infantry, and even
like,
against space
I
marines.
assume it's an
the
energy
weight of
weapon, but,
firepower it
like,
puts out is quite powerful. Also
what
in the
is
box
it?
you've
It's not
got
plasma.
las cannons,
It's not
which are your
lasers.
go-to long-range anti-tank. That's
That's
pretty
a
solid.
lava gun.
There's every legion makes
It's
good
plasma
use of
laser.
las cannons, and then you've got
It's
autocannon
plaser.
as well, which is your kind of jack of all trades heavy weapon, which is
You've
pretty
gotta
good
love
at.
it. Look at the magazine just loaded with
Yeah.
what I assume is like 40mm shells or something.
Yeah, and so the top two there, the Volkite and the autocannon, are underslung. Carry
Oh, is it?
man portable.
Well, I
and
mean,
then the
like
las
with
cannon
a
is
name like
shoulder mounted as
Volkite,
well,
I
so
assume
you've
it's
got
like
nice mix
a
of,
voltage.
even
right?
though they're all
Like, it's an energy
upgrades onto the same
like
kit.
lightning?
You're going to look quite different based
I
on
don't
them.
know.
But you can see, like, straight out of the gate, you've got a vast amount of different heavy special weapons to play with, to mix in with your beaky marines.
Somebody in the chat has asked, are there different arms for grabbing the guns? Yeah, that's why there are essentially less of the big weapons in the set than there is the specialist weapons.
Thermal Ray, isn't that the guy who wrote the Ghostbusters theme song?
Yeah.
So, and the guns are just bigger. So yeah, you'll be able to build these and they'll be appropriately posed and look super.
And the beaky marines as well are designed with the idea that
Ghost of Starman. I think Volkite is a cross between Plasma and Melta, but I don't know really.
Yeah, so when you're picking up your Age of Darkness box set, it's probably worth deciding as well, like, are you going to do them all as tactical marines straight away, or are you going to save some back, or wait for that separate beaky box
pretty
set
interesting.
To come out and upgrade them? But
Fafnir
basically,
Bane, I think Volkites are microwave weapons. Are they?
I think this is a really
sure. I'll take
clever way
anybody's
actually
word for it. You guys can tell me it launches
otherwise
babies
you'd have
at people.
hundreds
I'll
of
believe
different box sets for Last Cannon Marines and Alta Cannon
absolutely.
Marines and Heavy Bolter Marines. It just
Launching
makes it
babies
much
at people?
easier,
Yeah.
and it probably means as well you're going to have lots of spare special weapons. So that one special weapon box can probably do your whole legion.
Yeah, depending on how
60
big
special
you're
weapons.
going.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a Legion army that's had more than about 30 specialist weapon troopers in it. So you've got 60 in that.
I do want to but then we could swap.
You could. I think that might be a popular thing. Be like, I like plasma.
The annual
you like
swap
rotator
meet,
cannon.
The legions all get together.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest.
On a neutral Forge World somewhere, they all get together
early.
and swap special weapons.
You gotta love it. A
Seems like a
bit
thing,
of Rhino boot trading. I don't know if car boot.
I can't remember the last. Not since I've worked nights have I
Speaking
been
of rhinos,
alive at
let's
this
go to my next video.
Oh, we're getting another preview. Fuck. Hold on. Rhino. Yeah, Rhino. Cool. Love it. Nice. In plastique. It's a Rhino.
So a new Demios pattern Rhino. I bet you're wondering how are you going to get your 10 melter gun specialist weapon
You know what?
troopers
That's
into
what
the
I
heart of
was
the enemy.
thinking,
They're not going
Eddie.
to walk, are they?
How am I going
Have
to
to
get it?
transport
Walk-ins for
themselves.
chumps.
Walk-ins for chumps. Unless you're the Death Guard, they're all into walking. They like.
they? Is that
They
their
really
thing?
like walking. They're
You'd think in that case they would be more svelte, wouldn't you?
maybe, yeah. But the
I
Demios
dig it,
pattern
though.
Rhino. So this is a plastic Rhino. We have seen this model before in resin. This is a reinvention of it in plastic, and it will be available again
Yes.
to every legion. And
Lovely
what this-
shoebox of doom.
This
Yeah.
is kind of cool for two reasons. One of them,
Pretty
it
much.
means that you can very easily do
Ghost
a
of
very
Starman.
mechanized force.
Rotator
of,
cannon looks like a good
Space
conversion
Marines.
fodder for Chaos Space
A
Marine
lot
Reaper
of
chain
players
cannon.
in
Yeah.
Horus Heresy, certainly in the current edition, tend to fully mechanize their force. So you tend to kind of have to break through all the tanks and kind of pop open the transports before you can get at the juicy Space Marines inside. So actually, the
Juicy
Rhino is a
space.
level of protection for your army. It's also a level of mobility, so you can get your units where they want to be. But the thing that's really exciting about this really is what it symbolizes and what it hints at for the rest of the Horus Heresy range. So there are a vast amount of plastic. There are a vast amount of resin kits currently, dreadnoughts, tanks, artillery pieces that are available in resin that are basically on the cards to get
the side
plastic
doors on the
pieces in
tank.
the future, which is really
It
exciting.
used to be in tons of.
I'm stoked.
conversions
Obviously,
back
this
in
is
the day.
a very similar
of
silhouette to the
scenery.
Rhino that was the ubiquitous
Anybody who
Rhino
wanted,
of
like, the
my childhood. The
doorway
Deimos pattern
kind of
Rhino
things.
is obviously sort of the chosen chariot of the First Legion. Of all
I like the
legions,
inclusion
but
of the
legionaries at the
spotlamp
time of the Horus
around the
Heresy.
whole, like,
It has options. I should talk a little bit about those. So you can see on the top,
That's
that
some quite good
classic,
guns for a Rhino.
two
Oh,
bolters.
yeah.
There's a heavy bolter option. Oh, in fact, Raf's put the picture on. So you've got a combi bolter. You've got, I think that's a Havoc missile launcher. There's a multi-melter, which is like the cruelest way to blow people's tanks up.
So
Just rock
one
around
of
in
my
rhinos.
favourite things ever is a current edition of Horus Heresy is outflanking rhinos with little veteran units in, and then like using them to blow up land raiders, because you've invested almost no points basically in this little kind of troop transport, but you've got one of the best kind of
James, will
tank
we see
portable
the
anti-vehicle
Sicarian tank?
guns,
Always wanted
in the
one
whole
of those.
game on the back of
Yeah.
it. And a multi-melter can
with
pretty
this-
much pop anything
with
up
this
to
coming to like
including
the main product line being
super
all
heavies,
styrene
if
plastic and
you
everything.
get the rolls right. Which
We were talking
is
a little
pretty
bit
scary.
yesterday
It's not
about
a
this, like, will
given
we
thing, but it
see,
just
like,
means
the
that your
fell
rhino's
blades?
got some teeth basically.
You know, like
Quite a lot of
just
people
like the
saying,
Bane
what is the
blades
scale of
made
the
the
armour?
port
It's
over to
Rhino
40K from
size.
Forge
I mean,
World.
I'm not sure what else
Will
I can
we
tell you,
see-
really.
Yeah, so we can talk
felt
a bit about that. So this
in
is a Rhino.
plastic?
Like if you put this next to a Warhammer.
If we do,
40,000
I imagine
Rhino,
that's probably
it's
a couple
about
years
About the same size.
there is some
you
design
never
similarities to this and things like the Sisters of Battle rhinos that we've seen recently for Warhammer 40,000. They have a similar kind of archaic pattern, but in the Sister of Battle army, it's kind of covered in scroll work and icons and shrines and things like that. There is nothing stopping you from going, I'm going to use this rhino in my Warhammer 40,000 games as a Chaos Space Marine or a Space Marine rhino, and use it to transport the troops around. Especially if you've got a Chaos Force, many of your rhinos will date back to the time of the Horus Heresy and kind of.
So I wonder, are the Predators built off that same body?
This is a clean
for Horus Heresy. I'd imagine it's probably
original
a wide
off
mix
the
of them,
production line of the Horus Heresy rhino, but you can still use it in your 40k games if you want. So yeah, it's just cool to see a cool tank that you can with lots of utility. It's kind of what it's for, right? The Rhino is the chassis that the Imperial War Machine's built on.
Isn't it? Let's be honest. There's a couple of questions going around asking whether the existing Forge of Deimos pattern Rhino doors will go on this. I'm pretty sure, but we can confirm that for you later on the Warhammer community website. I have no doubt at all. So if like your decision making process is based on that, don't
are there Razorbacks
until you've checked.
Horus Heresy?
But I would reckon. Because the doors look the same.
Who's that?
But we'll get you the word out via Warcom.
We can find that out. Yeah.
We'll send an agent down into the resin mines of the Forge World studio to find out that.
They don't always come back when we send those agents in.
Yeah, we'll send two. That way we've got some built-in risk. Right. Of course, a lot of people have been asking for a couple of models.
James, I'd assume their Predator base
for a while.
saves on tooling. Yeah,
so Raph,
I would assume so too.
Slide these up. We're also going to see the return
guy.
of.
I like the Space
notorious Psycho Witch and terrible traitor Azek Araman. I'm saying this deliberately because Eddie is a super fan. And the Space Wolves Guy Gorfelhand. These will be returning. They are plastic models that were previously available.
You haven't been paying attention at all, have you?
Prospero box?
Yep.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so Azek Araman is well known to Warhammer 40,000 fans as obviously
that's what I do, man.
Architect of the rubric of Araman that turned the Thousand Sun Legion into
it's
the
a big
Dust Warriors
preview
that we're
today
with in the 41st millennium.
Warhammer
But during the time of the Horus Heresy, he was one of the preeminent librarians of the Thousand Suns, and this is before his certainly before the obvious steps of his fall to chaos, when he was still a legionary, clad in the armor and the iconography of the Thousand Suns and of Prospero. A really, really cool model, I think. Like, I just really love everything about this model: the pose, the weaponry, the armor.
I don't know. We've discussed price, but I don't know if they've actually said the price of the box.
And then again, Gregor Felhand
we've been talking
kind of
as well,
encapsulates
so
everything about a Space Wolf at the time of the Horus Heresy, doesn't he?
No, they've shown us the plastic Rhino, and now they're showing us two characters, a Thousand Sun and
everything about him is just like a
Space Wolf.
Space Wolf.
Fucking cool.
I think in many ways he's my favourite of the Horus Heresy sort of non-Primarch level hero models. And
I like his bolter strap as a chain.
A Dark Ages fan to give that level of kudos.
To a Space
for me, it's
Wolf
between him
Crikey.
and Fafnir Ran, but there's been some incredible models. It's the dynamic energy for me. It captures that. The Space Wolves did not turn up to Prospero with good intentions, and the way he's just like drop shoulder charging forward, enormous power claw, sword, bolters.
The Thousand Sun dude,
like everything.
He's cool.
It is just fantastic. Sign me right up.
He looks a little too close to a regular Chaos
I feel like
Space Marine for me, though.
The running order as well. We have, would you believe, another video to show you.
Oh, another video? Yeah, let's do it. Go. Oh, wait, that's the fucking Fellblade. Look at that. Is that not the Fellblade?
I think it's the smaller one. I think it's the Sakaran, but I'm not 100% on Horus Heresy.
Incredible new tank for Horus Heresy. What is a Kratos? And
it's a whole new tank.
Excited, Eddie?
So, if you watched the Horus Heresy cinematic trailer, and frankly, if you didn't, then you should go watch it right now because it's amazing.
We'll play it at the end.
We'll play it at the end. There is a vehicle in there that some people spotted that were like, "Oh, that doesn't look quite like the tanks that we've seen before for the Horus Heresy. I wonder if it's new." And we can confirm it is indeed new. This is the Kratos Heavy Assault Tank, and this is one of the line battle tanks of the legions during the time of the Horus Heresy. If you want a sense of scale, this is bigger than a Sakaran, but not the same size as the kind of super heavies. It's in the same sort of ballpark as something like maybe between a Land Raider and
wish
Spartan
really hard,
in terms of its size.
it
So
is.
it's a big tank, and you can see that it's got quite a lot of firepower. You've got sponsons on the side there. You've got a couple of kind of centrally mounted heavy bolters. You've got a battle cannon with a coaxial autocannon, so it's going to kick out quite a lot of firepower. And this is, you can see that there's lots of design cues that kind of tap into lots of other things. It's quite similar to some things like
there was the Fellblade,
Predator
but
and
yeah,
the
the Fellblade
Spartan
has
in terms of some of its aesthetic and maybe things like the Fellblade as well. And it kind of gives you a kind of heavy duty battle tank.
I don't know why you designed a battle tank that had
with
spaces
your
in the
Legion
armor
to
like that,
kind of
but
back them up.
whatever.
It's fast enough to keep up with your transport vehicles, so you can put this like right at the heart of the battle line and do some serious damage. It's got some pretty hefty firepower, and every Legion can use it. So it's a cool addition, and it's on the way alongside the.
Eddie, is it plastic?
It is plastic. Yeah, it's plastic. All this stuff's plastic.
Too.
There's so much stuff coming in plastic for the Heresy. It's going to be a joy to put together a Legion, I think. And we can talk a little bit about some of the rules for that gun as well. Oh, you've got multiple guns before.
Because there ain't just one. There's a whole bunch.
So you can take your classic.
Oh, look at the
battle
fucking
cannon,
dozer
which,
blade.
Is a kind of jack of all trades, which does lots of different
that
things.
Is
or
the
you can
meanest
lean
dozer
really
blade I
specifically
think I've ever
into
seen.
a particular thing that you want your tank to do. So
that is mean
the way
looking.
to think about this tank is to go.
That looks
what
like one of them
isn't my army very good at
post-apocalyptic
killing?
fucking movie. You know,
I'm going to
like
put
where
the
they're
gun on
killing
the back of
zombies and
this
shit.
that fills in the
like that
gap in my
kind of
army.
shit.
So you can give it the battle cannon, which does sort of what you'd expect a battle cannon to do. You can give it an enormous Volkite cannon.
Yeah, Volkite Cardinal, which frankly is just a new way of saying thing that makes everything burst.
Super mega gun. So that is a huge amount of firepower. That is your thing for cooking vast swathes of lighter infantry, which is kind of what the Volkites are good at. But it gets even more firepower than almost any other Volkite gun that currently exists.
That's pretty darn cool.
And then the other option is to give it an enormous melter cannon. So that is the thing that you want to put on it if you want to do short-range tank battles, basically. Or if you're up against something like Knights, which is one of the armies that you can find yourself up against in the Horus Heresy. Is like big, massive, stumpy robots.
Yeah, does a melter gun
the Adeptus Mechanicus
burn you up from the inside out or the outside
houses. This is the thing you put in your army if you want to kind of take those out.
Oh, is the
There's also options on the side there, so you can give it las cannons, you can give it heavy bolters, or you can go Volkite. So if you really, really super love Volkite, you can have a Volkite on the back. You can have a couple of Volkites on the side, and you can follow it around with a few guys with Volkite charges, Volkite calibers. You can have a lot of Volkites if you want to.
And Salamander's Rejoice it also has heavy flamer options for the sponsors as well. So if you surely just want to burninate everybody, it is in your future. We thought it would be fun to show the stats for the weapons on it. I am all in on the Kratos battle cannon. I think its flexibility is where it's at, with high explosive shells, AP shells, and then for when you absolutely need to blow the head off a custodian with one shot, flashburn shells.
What's deflagrate?
You see like the differences in those stats and the different things that you can get out of it.
It's a special Volkite thing.
Yeah, I can fucking see that.
There. But let's say that you like using Melter Blast, because that heavy fall, which means basically you're just never going to miss because you're rolling enough dice. And Armor Bane with a range of 36. So it's not a slow vehicle. You are in Armor Bane range very quickly, at which point every vehicle needs to fear you.
Matt, you wrong? No.
Which
heavy 12 is pretty scary.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Just rolling fistfuls of dice, all with Deflagrate, which means that your hits essentially can create more hits.
That's pretty cool.
That is a frightening weapon.
Yeah, so the Volkite, not exactly optimized for kind of Legion on Legion warfare, but just the sheer amount of dice you get to chuck around means that if you can hit one of those little kind of specialist Space Marine squads, and you can get a few wounds through, you can pop like whole squads.
It is kind of funny range,
you've got
right?
all the kind of
45.
side sponsons on there as well. So
like
you've
45
got
and a
potentially
third. What?
either 4 heavy bolters or flamethrowers and heavy bolters or Volkites as well. You can kick out a lot of firepower from this. The stats as well give you a sense of the type of game we're playing as well. So they'll be familiar to people who've played older editions of Warhammer 40,000 or the current edition of Horus Heresy. Worth saying that the stat lines for the new edition of the Horus Heresy aren't necessarily the same across the board as the current stat lines in the current game. So like take these things in context of each other rather than the context of the current game, perhaps. But you get a sense of kind of where they sit in relation to each other if you're familiar with
put all the
how the
ranges
game
into millimeters.
The question, without a doubt, that is appearing most in the chat at the moment is: can
or
a
in
Kratos,
straight meters and everything's
heavy
in point
assault tank, a
oh
Legion
something.
Astartes vehicle from the Horus Heresy be used in Warhammer?
Yeah, Space Marines would
0.070.
.070.
I mean, ultimately, my quick answer would be: who can stop you? The Warhammer police are not going to swing in through your windows.
We disbanded the Warhammer police.
But at the same time, whether it will get match play rules, to watch. a lot of Horus Heresy vehicles do have rules for appearing as like relic vehicles and things like that. So I give you a firm maybe on that.
Yeah, Battlefleet, Epic.
Well,
yeah, those are all
time to breathe. That is a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of plastics. So you've got a huge big box out there with loads of basically the start of your legion, or you can split it in half and share with a friend if you want to.
I mean, are you?
I guess you can. I'm not going to.
I'm not either.
It's all for me. And then there's loads of stuff on the way to kind of tailor your force. So I think the nice thing about the Horus Heresy is that even though everyone's got a similar starting point, some people will go, I just want all the infantry, and they're going to fill their army going something like a Death Guard force that advances, or World Eaters. Or some people will go, I want a fully mechanized force, they'll pack it full of Rhinos, put everything in Spartans. And some people will lean into like a really specific, flavorful thing, so they'll go, actually, I want my guys to be the first companies of a particular faction and put loads of extra Terminators and stuff into their force. So you've got loads of ways you can take it.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm just smiling. Somebody's just started like, can you use the Kratos in Age of Sigmar? What about Middle Earth? I mean, it's not a definite no, but I'm fairly positive.
You can't walk into Mordor, but I reckon you can roll a Kratos in.
The Hobbits would have had a much easier trip.
Are people asking about?
So we've talked a lot about models. We've talked a bit about rules, but of course,
it must be
Horus
early
Heresy
then for people.
Also,
Holy shit.
one of the things that makes it so amazing, maybe the thing that makes it so amazing, is the incredible stories and lore that have given life to this epic sort of creation myth of Warhammer 40,000. And so there are some cool books on the way. 3 new titles from Black Library. Eddie, do you want to walk us through them?
Yep, so you've got 3 books, and they're sort of for 3 different types of readers, I suppose. So the Horus Heresy is now a vast saga, an epic saga that you can absolutely dive into, and there's now a series that is more than 60 books long, which will give you hours and hours and hours, hundreds of hours of reading if you want to enjoy it. But it can feel quite intimidating. It can be like, oh, there's a lot of things to read. Where do I start? What's the best first book to dive into? You can start with Horus Rising and go from there and kind of work your way through. But there's a new book out, which is Lupercal's War, which is an anthology of short stories, currently existing short stories. If you've not read any Horus Heresy fiction before, but you're looking for a way to get a sense of the themes and the wider narrative, this is a really good one to start with, because it gives you some of the key characters and story arcs, and kind of gives you like a hook in, and then also recommends, if you liked this story, you like this character, read this book next and you'll kind of see where their story progresses.
Absolutely, that sounds awesome. And then Chthonia's Reckoning? So
Chthonia's Reckoning is a brand new, so this is a new anthology of stories from some of Black Library's best authors. This is the Siege of Chthoniya. So this is a story that we haven't really explored or heard much about, other than some very small kind of nods in pieces of fiction. Chthoniya is the homeworld of the Sons of Horus, so strategically incredibly important, emotionally very important to the traitors, and during the events of the Horus Heresy, the loyalists basically dispatch a force to attack Horus's homeworld, and this is the collection of stories about what happens during that encounter, that battle for this incredibly vital planet.
Some novels and shit
that
coming out, right?
we've known has been a battle, but we've never actually got a chance to learn anything about.
Of course, too. Now, I mean, this is an excuse for them to do reprinting of the Horus Heresy
when legions turn up to raise each other's homeworld.
Break your brother's toys, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody has correctly identified the theme. It's not for nothing that the contents of the Horus Heresy box game
or even offering hard colours of the editions of the Horus Heresy novels. That'd be nice.
The Sons of Horus and the Imperial.
Some of them still want to be.
I imagine they do. They're probably quite sad. And yet, this collection of stories tells more of the background and the themes behind that, and is probably the coolest way to see yourselves in an unexplored till now part of the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, so there's sort of 2 major points in the Horus Heresy where Imperial Fists battle against the Sons of Horus. The Horus Heresy is a vast kind of decade-spanning
excited about books,
loads
man.
of like pockets of battles that happen all over the place, but the 2 sort of big ones, one of them is the Siege of Terra, where the Sons of Horus play a major part in the
it's hard to argue with that reasoning.
Emperor's Palace. But the events of the Horus Heresy game system basically take you right up to the gates, but no further. That's leave the Siege of Terror as a thing for you to decide for yourself and to read about. But the other one is the Siege of Chthoniya, where a huge force of Imperial Fists.
You don't have to charge anybody $20 per book.
The Sons of Horus, and it gives you that like excuse for almost the 2 poster boys of the Horus Heresy to take chunks out of each other.
Awesome. And the third of these novels obviously continues the Primarch series, which has been awesome so far. I've really enjoyed the ones that I've dipped into. And this is Rogel Dawn, the Empress Crusader by Gav Thorpe, who must be one of the most acclaimed and sort of most beloved Black Library authors out there. And he's telling the story of the Empress Praetorian, the hero of the Siege of Terror. I could lord this.
It's got quite a few heroes.
Yeah, well, no, come now. I'm sure the chat will disagree, but chat, agree or disagree, Rogel Dawn is the real hero of this.
Yeah,
Sanguinius does some pretty epic stuff.
That one was pretty silly.
Literally dies.
Oh, but like properly.
It was a while ago.
Oh, I feel like I may have just stirred the hornet's nest. Whoever
Might
you
have
I
been
see,
longer than
Thousand
that.
Sons
Like,
of
it was
Dawn
a while
agree.
ago. It was like basically
but that's
playing
it.
about like Space
It's all gone
Wars.
mad. Spoiler warning. Oh, come now. If you don't know the 30+ year history of the Horus Heresy at this point, then sorry. Right. Basically, if you want to fill your boots with awesome Black Library fiction, which just gives you more Horus Heresy,
I'm not sure if it was just a troll
action
or
to
if it
sink your teeth
was
into, then
legit thing. But
these
yeah.
books are on their way.
Yep.
It's going to be a good time if the Horus Heresy is your jam.
I kind of like that.
And if
I
you
kinda
do,
like that Horus,
if you
starter
haven't dipped your
book.
foot into the Horus
That's
Heresy
interesting.
before, and you are a fan of like fiction
Start
at
here.
all,
Yeah, it says right on
Horus
the
Heresy
fucking
series
cover.
is
Start here.
genuinely
Oh, okay,
awesome.
great.
Like, it's
You know,
really,
you start
really,
flipping
really
through.
good. So Lupercal's War is a great place to start.
No,
Horus
be
Rising is a
unfair.
perennial kind of essential read almost for Warhammer fans. And I think worth saying that the Horus Heresy is sort of more than just the story of the Horus Heresy. It's the origin
you
story
do.
of Warhammer
Yeah.
40,000.
Exactly.
If you-
Why is the galaxy so messed up?
Yeah, if you are a Warhammer fan, you
And
should
like,
be a
the
fan
Warhammer
of the
community's
Horus
been putting
Heresy.
out
You should,
articles
like,
where they kind of like
enriches
pointing you
everything else
towards
about
the books and stuff like that, like
about
which books are
40K
talking
and
about
about
this and where to kind of
the
start.
setting during the
And I
time
think
of the
those
Horus Heresy
are
and
really,
the 41st
really good
Millennium. It's just
because,
really rewarding.
Again,
as a Warhammer
there's just
fan
so much lore.
and the
Like
story's
the Warhammer
Absolutely.
Horus Heresy stuff.
Apologies to the
It's
Sanguinius
got to be
fans in the
deeper
chat. I
than
may
the
have gone
regular
too
40K
far.
stuff.
They will not forget. They
Well,
won't forget.
there'll be
So
no
many
forgiveness,
books,
no
so
remorse.
many
They'll see you now, and they'll
novels,
just the eyes will glaze over, and they'll
that part of the
they'll
of
still-
Warhammer
all they'll see is
40,000,
Horus
which
standing
is the
before them, and
past
then
of
you're in
Warhammer
trouble.
40,000.
Well, look,
There's so much known. Right,
I've
as
been
opposed
super
to
excited to
regular
talk about all
40K.
this stuff all week, seeing the Horus Heresy, which has been enormously popular, but it's always been in Forge of Resin. It hasn't been stocked in Warhammer stores. All of those things have, those barriers are removed, and it's now going to be just bigger and enjoyed by even more people than ever. And for me, who,
Yeah, Eldar,
firmly
I mean,
believes
Eldar
that
really
Warhammer's
shouldn't be
just this
that
amazing
different.
thing that can let people get together
In
and
Horus
make friends,
Heresy?
have an awesome time. I am stoked to see how this is going to take
But
up with the
mind
fans.
you, though, it
if you
is
are
a
an
fun
existing Horus
opportunity to
Heresy
explore
fan, like embrace
something that
all the new
looks
guys to the
between a
fold.
Dark Eldar
Show them like
and a
the
regular
best
Craftworld Eldar,
lore, help them
and that
find the
being
best
the
things in their
old
armies.
Eldar at the
It's
fall-
going to
at
be
the time of
mega.
the fall.
This summer is going to rock.
No, it's before. It's after. The
So
fall.
there's a couple of questions I think in the chat that we wanted to maybe just address. So
Go for it.
Yeah.
So one of them, quite a few of you asking about the scale difference between
The Mark 3 and 4 and 6
yeah.
armor.
So there is a slight scale difference between the Mark patterns. It's fair to say the Corvus pattern probably stand maybe like half a head taller
Well,
than
Exodus wouldn't be running
the
around.
Maximus
Exodus
pattern.
Found
Found
it
it
less
in
than
the
the
world.
difference
They
between the
don't
Big Show
explore.
and Rey Mysterio.
They just want to stay away from everybody.
Yeah, it's true. Basically, the difference isn't so much that they will look strange on the battlefield together. They still feel like the same scale, and that they're still close enough together. It's not a kind of
The arms on them, for example, you could swap between
Yeah.
and you wouldn't
Yeah.
have any real issues.
Well,
so I think that also
yeah.
probably answers.
And the fun
this
part is
question
you,
on
you
whether
get you buy
weapons
this box, you
are,
can play
like,
30K,
fully
you can play
compatible.
40K with it.
Certainly, they're designed with the Mark 6 kit in mind, but I've seen some on other models, so I know that with minimal faff, you'll be able to do quite a lot of sort of swapping between.
what you might try and do in the coming days is to have a look on the community site to talk about exactly how compatible some of those are. So I think
Just
you're
like get Peachy to like
yeah,
put
we'll,
it together.
we'll mash them up. I think the weapons, the special weapon ones, like the flamers and melter guns, I think that feels like
Yeah.
a very easy.
Yeah.
Just like
I mean,
put them
it's,
on.
Exactly.
Things like the
it's
shoulder
still
mounted
gonna be
mount guns
expensive,
might be
but-
a little bit trickier, but we'll
'Cause
find
the
out.
shoulders, the shoulder differences. Yeah, we'll make sure that Warcom is updated
well,
over
the
the
thing I
next few
think
days
which
with,
chaps a lot of
some
people's asses with
visual
Forge World
evidence
is
for
that
the questions that you've
the
asked.
prices are fairly up there.
Yeah,
and
a couple of other
it's
things to
resin.
mention before we wrap
you know,
up.
there's almost
We've
a
had a
guarantee
pretty
of
pretty mega
errors and,
Warhammer
you know,
Fest. If you've been watching
bubbles
along
and
for the last
stuff
4
like that,
days and
right?
you've been like, man, everything here looks awesome. I wish I could have all of this stuff for me. there is a competition running.
What?
Right. For those people who are signed up to the Warhammer newsletter, one person signed up to the Warhammer newsletter will win everything that we've revealed at Warhammer Fest, which is pretty cool. That includes Horus Heresy box sets, and new Sylvaneth armies, and new squad.
Oh, so everything we've shown across all the days.
Absolutely everything we've shown through all of the days. So if you're not already signed up for the Warhammer newsletter,
the model would be too brittle.
Worth a go.
There you go, and all they will do is send you emails about Warhammer, which if you're watching, you probably already like. Fair play. I feel like there was one other thing. Oh, somebody in the chat said, will there be any Horus Heresy related stuff on Warhammer Plus?
It's very thin.
Yes, the Battle Report guys have definitely been playing a game of Horus Heresy recently. I think I got a nod from Raph on that. So you'll be able to watch games being played in beautiful miniatures and beautiful terrain. And the army painting teams, because the presenters. So that's
because it was light and because there was a huge concern about the rising shipping costs.
Emma, which is what Elizabeth, I guess, they've been painting absolutely loads of tutorial guides for all the different models Legion colour schemes.
Next to
so
nothing,
if you're like, oh, I don't know how to paint Sons of Horus Space Marine, they've got like weird sea green armour. Well, there'll be a painting guide that will suit you coming down the pipe alongside this. So there's going to be loads of content for you to sink your teeth in. You will not be alone. I feel
we're also just on the Warhammer community site over the next few days. There will also be a series looking in detail at each of the legions in the Horus Heresy, so you can find a bit more.
Does it start with the best one?
It does start with the best one.
Amazing.
We actually went through in order of the legions. So it starts with
that's how the Emperor did it. He was like, start with the best.
So we'll talk a bit more about like exactly what makes each legion different, both from a lore perspective, but also a little look at some of their ruls. So every legion basically has, in much the same way as Warhammer 40,000, every legion has some army special rules. Where if you're going to have a Dark Angel force, White Scar force, an Emperor's Children force, they have different things that they can do that no other legion can do.
Spectacular. Right. And somebody said, how will the new Mark 6 scale against the 35-year-old RTB01 Marines? And the answer is the RTB01s.
They are a little bit bigger.
I think it was a joke question. I think it's a joke answer. Right, let me bring this home. I would like, first of all, to thank the amazing Raph who pressed all the buttons in the right order and kept us on track. And huge praise to his awesome Hawaiian shirt. Thank you to Notley, who has done a Herculean task of moderating all of these live streams. Thank you to all of you who have made his life easier and for coming and joining us and just making what has been an amazing week of Warhammer reveals even more exciting and enjoyable. Thank you, Eddie, for being the host with the most and knowing all the answers. We have had a great time. We hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Be kind to each other, and we'll see you again soon.
If they're using MSLA technology, which a lot of people at home are using.
Okay, quiet.
I never wanted this. I never wanted to unleash my legions. Together we banished the ignorance of old night. But you betrayed me. You betrayed us all. You stole power from the gods and lied to your sons. Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If you will not seize it, then I will! So let it be war!
This animation.
From the skies of terror to the galactic rim. Let the seas boil. Let the stars fall. Though it takes the last drop of my blood. I will see the galaxy freed once more. And if I cannot save it from your failure, Father, then let the galaxy burn.
Now, one of my questions about this animation from the start. Okay, we're done with this. from the start is why is there such a heavy focus on the Warlord Titans? Right? Like, we see all the Space Marine stuff, and this is showcasing Horus Heresy, but why is there so much focus on Warlord Titans, not Reaver Titans, not Warhound Titans, like in various shots, specifically Warlords stomping around, and the imagery of all the little Space Marines at their feet? Is that like a tease for the return of Space Marine to Adeptus Titanicus? Do you think?
Don't fucking tempt me.
Right? Because why in that animation are the Warlord Titans so prevalent in the imagery? Right? Because that video is intended to be a preview of, things, right? Now, of course, one could argue Horus is in that video quite a bit too. So, are we going to see a plastic Horus? But who knows?
I mean, the two things that I have noticed that have been happening with like the Epic community is a while ago when Titanicus was released, we were specifically told that they may do super heavy tanks, but they had no plans to ever do infantry or small tanks like Land Raiders and below. But I do know that Epic has been growing slightly, and a lot of people have been getting excited. I know that they've also released a bunch of Horus Heresy fan games that use like epic scale models. So Games Workshop is a company. If they see something that is getting people excited, they're gonna produce a product for it in hopes to get their money. So we could. It's very possible.
So that was a very long way of just confirming what I said.
It's a long way of going, maybe, but I don't think so.
Then just say that.
Well, fine, Kris. Okay.
Be concise. That's what we're talking about when we say concise, man. Like when I want Matt to shut up, I say, Matt, shut up. I'm just teasing you, man. It's too fucking early. It's too fucking early to be up. Deck of Flack of Flame. They made a 3D model of the Warlord and didn't want to pay for any more than that. Bayushi. Maybe it's a tie-in to Adeptus Titanicus? Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, because, like, see, back in the day, Adeptus Titanicus was the first thing out. Then Space Marine came out. Space Marine was the introduction of Epic. And it was basically the Horus Heresy, because it was just Space Marines in it, fighting each other around the feet of the Warlord Titans. So that
was specifically just Space Marines and Land Raiders,
right? And Rhinos.
Everything else.
Yeah, that's all it was. Because it was the Horus Heresy.
Guard and Orcs.
Right.
For Space Marine.
Thank you for repeating, and yeah, that's what I'm alluding to. Is that like that's the whole train of how it all goes, because it's Epic, Warlord Titans, Space Marines, right? In the video, it's Space Marines, it's Horus Heresy, but yet it's Warlord Titans specifically that are in the shots. Is it just because they're cool? Is it because maybe they want Forge World to sell a few more Warlord Titans? Or is it a tie-in that Adeptus Titanicus and Horus Heresy Space Marines, that we're going to get that return of Epic with the Horus Heresy? And in fact, are we going to get the return of Epic, Horus Heresy, but that's it? Right?
What I was going to say, with the new Adeptus Titanicus, we're already ahead of the curve because they have Knights, Warhounds, and Reavers as opposed to just having Warlords.
Right.
Originally.
Right. But my point being, though, is that the games when they started Adeptus Titanicus way back in the day was just Warlords. It was 6 Warlords in a box. And that got you started into Adeptus Titanicus. And then Space Marine came out, which was just a big fucking box of Space Marines. And it introduced, like, the epic rules for using Space Marines in Adeptus Titanicus. That's what I'm saying. And so are we, like, I realized that since Adeptus Titanicus came out, that, you know, we've all been, well, we're going to get Xenos. You know, are we going to get all these other fun things for Adeptus Titanicus? Or is it just going to stay within the realm of Horus Heresy? And if it stays entirely within the realm of Horus Heresy, then we could see a return of Space Marine to Adeptus Titanicus. Right? It's possible. Because why else would the Warlord Titans be so prevalent? Why wouldn't they show the Reavers and the Warhounds and even the Knights running around? Right? Why wouldn't we see those? So many people want the return of Epic. But who knows? James, Epic would be cheap for them to do it Horus Heresy. A few grand in the molds and then make Titanicus line. Yeah, exactly, right? Like if they did a Horus Heresy for Epic and just like the original Space Marine and it just had Space Marines in it, yeah, they could totally just, you know, just do it. Keep Adeptus Titanicus and that game universe entirely within the realm of, you know, Warhammer 30,000. And yeah. I mean, it wouldn't satisfy everybody, but a vast majority, I think it would satisfy, you know. Especially when everybody's pushing around their little lines of Space Marines, little 6mm Space Marines. I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, presentation's done. We're just gum flapping at this point. Any last words, Matt?
I hope they bring back Epic.
Okay. Hope they bring
but
back
I also
Epic.
think they're going to massively fuck it up if they do with the rules, so...
So, you're just going to keep talking then?
Yeah.
Okay. Barfing Sheep, what do you got for me?
Bring me my dwarves.
Fuck Horus Heresy, bring me the fucking dwarves?
Yep.
Are we talking dwarves or squats?
Squats.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I really want a 28mm squat land train because that will be fucking amazing.
Yeah, see, like, and that's the thing is, like, you know, with Space Marine staying within the Horus Heresy, you know, like, it's, you know, would they, right? Because then it was like a while after that they introduced the Xenos to Epic, and that's when the fucking game got out of control. Bayushi, I think Adeptus pretty much reached an end in models and stuff, and now second Heresy, they might look into expanding. Right, I mean, like, why not? Because now they have, like, all the digital sculpts of all the, you know, the vehicles and the troops, and, you know what I mean? All they have to do is just change, you know, how they're based, how they're scaled, then change up the frames, and then bang. You can have all this shit again. We can have it all. Again, kids. We could have it all. Ghost of Starman. Heresy era squats would be epic, actually. Yeah, they would be. Well, it would be epic. Epic. Daka Flak of Flame. Hear me out. Epic only Xenos. Epic only Xenos? Sure. Yeah. I don't know. There's nothing quite like seeing the Imperial Guard on the table in full array. All those tanks and everything like that. It just looks really cool.
There's nothing like running around with 9 super heavies.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You have all the Titans and all your things, and then the big super heavy tanks, and then all the regular tanks, and then all your divisions of troops. It's fun. It's fun. It's, you know, it's why so many of us Apocalypse players, you know, love the big scale stuff, right? Because that's how we're imagining that epic scale way back in the day. And wouldn't it be great to have Phantom Titans walk around destroying entire fucking platoons of troops, and then we get them in 40k, right? And so, you know, but then they removed destroyer weapons, and I don't know, some of the hilarity of Epic was, I think, kind of lost, taking away the big templates. Go ahead, Matt.
The best part of Epic was running up and having the tank commissar jump out and smack something with his sword.
That
meme? Was the best part of Epic.
A meme? You were going to pull out a meme on me?
It's true. In Epic, whatever thing the commissar was in got a power weapon. So you could have a Baneblade with a power weapon in close combat. It was a terrible power weapon, but it was a power weapon.
James Shapiro. Warcry is GW's only really playable rule set right now. Anything 30k, 40k, or full Age of Sigmar are just hobby toys for now. Interesting. Daka Flaka Flame. Imperial Guard tanks would be awesome, but they'd be painted blue with orcs riding in them. Right, with a name like Daka Flaka... Daka Flaka... Daka Flaka... I sound like somebody cursing in Looney Tunes. Or some old comic, you know? Some old cartoon. Ah, Dagger Fagger Flame. What's that?
I said you've finally gone senile. You finally truly become an old man.
Yeah.
You're gonna be on the lawn swinging your walker at the kids.
I am. That's all I can muster at this time right now. I'm debating whether I should stay up, get my day started, or if I should just, pull the pin and go to bed. Oh.
Well, aren't you streaming later?
No, actually, probably not. I think I'm gonna take the day. Because right now on the channel, I should have put up the unboxing. Unboxing should have went live of the Chaos Knight army set. It should be live right now. So check it out if you want. Ghost of Starman, I'm going back to bed. It's Saturday. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So last words, barfing. Yeah, Matt. We already had our last words, right? Anything else we want to talk about? I think we're pretty much done for now, right?
I mean, after this, go outside, take a look at Venus, Jupiter.
Go touch grass.
Saturn, Mars. You can see them all right now. It's a beautiful thing. See the morning star.
Oh, there's
Venus.
Boop. Boop, I'm heading off, man. I'm heading off. Don't join us. I'm heading off. Boop's online apparently. Dang, Madman did it. Yeah, I did it. Lost power from the storms on my phone. Oh shit. Well, stay safe, man. Stay safe. And if things get hairy, hopefully you have a bug out bag. Did that get?
His emotional support AR-15.
And his emotionally supporting AR-15, yeah. Alrighty, folks, let's get the hell out of here. I might go back to bed. I don't know. I'm thinking either I eat and have some coffee, or go back to bed.
Some coffee.
Some coffee. I need some coffee.
Coffee.
Some coffee. Dagger Fragger Frame. Good night. Dagger Fragger Flame, bro. Dagger
I think you
Fragger.
should go have the Breakfast of Champions. A smoke and a beer.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Well, that's what I'm gonna go do after this. Go have a smoke and a beer.
There we go. Dude, it's like 6 in the morning. What are you talking? Or did you work all night?
I was up all fucking night.
Oh.
I told you I don't sleep at night anymore for
Well,
a variety of reasons.
quit doing fucking meth and you could get a fucking good night's sleep.
I have so many fucking issues. Unfortunately, meth isn't one of them.
Oh.
I want you to know my drug of choice is cocaine.
All right. Sweet. Nose candy. Nice.
Next, Adepticon.
Oh, we doing rails at Adepticon? Yeah? All right. Let's do it.
Forget shotgunning beers. We're just gonna do rails.
We're going to do fucking rail. I'm going to get a $20 hooker. We're going to fucking do rails off our ass. We'll catch something more than fucking cocaine up the nose anyway. All right, let's get the fuck out of here.